folks, today we're going to demonstrate how to install BumperShellz on a 2014 to 2015 Chevrolet Silverado 1500 pickup truck. This particular model has both fog lamps and park assist sensors, but the installation process is virtually the same whether you have those features or not. In preparation for the installation, there's two things you need to consider. One is the cleanliness of the bumper. You're going to want to make sure that it's clean of any debris and grease and that sort of thing, just to make sure that the tape on the back side of the BumperShellz has a good surface to adhere to. The second thing to consider is temperature. You don't want to allow the BumperShellz to get too hot before you install them, so don't let them sit out in the sun because they are plastic. They do have thermal expansion. This is really only an issue if you have park assist holes, where those might separate a little bit if it's too hot. Once it's installed, it's not a big deal, but you might have a thousandths or two off trying to install it if you've allowed them to get too hot. Okay, so just kind of consider that if the holes are a little bit too wide apart during your installation. Let the BumperShellz cool down a little bit. Installation of your BumperShellz is really easy, and you just need maybe a couple simple tools, a 10mm socket wrench, maybe a plastic pry tool, and you might find a pair of needle nose pliers comes in handy. Really the only thing that you need to disassemble prior to putting the BumperShellz on is there's 3 screws and 2 clips from, let's say, the license plate, or no, about this area outboard on either side. So 3 screws, 2 clips from this area outboard that hold this lower panel on. So you want to remove that so that you can separate that so the BumperShellz can tuck underneath. That's really the only disassembly necessary. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll get started. So you want to start with one of the ends, and then we'll do the center piece last. So first you take the backing off of the tape on each area. The tape used on your BumperShellz is a 3M acrylic foam tape, which is a pressure sensitive tape. So you're not going to want to let that tape, these taped areas, touch down onto the bumper or put much pressure on it until you get the BumperShellz fully in place and positioned where you want it. So being very careful, I tuck this corner in and underneath first, so the flange goes underneath this top cap, and I just kind of wrap it around so that that corner tucks in, and then you have some tabs down underneath. You need to make sure those tabs are between the bumper and this balance panel. So you might need to tuck those up just a little bit, make sure they're underneath, and then slide this over. Now you want to make sure that the park assist sensor hole is centered on the sensor. So that's your next step. Get that centered. Now you can apply some pressure in the taped areas. So just kind of looking, make sure everything's in position, and press down. Again, since it's pressure sensitive tape, you got to put good pressure on it in all the taped areas to make sure that that contact is made and you're getting good adhesion between the bumper shell and the bumper. So I just repeated the process on the other side. So now we're ready for the center. Again, just take the backing off of the tape. So once you have the tape backing off, again, just being careful that you don't allow that tape to touch down prematurely. You tuck this upper flange underneath your top cap on your bumper. Should slide up there like that. Again, some of that tape's going to want to catch a little bit, but try not to let it touch down too hard. And then if you have park assist sensors, you want to make sure that you are centering that bumper shell, the center portion, right on that park assist sensor. Check the other one. and then you can press down. If you don't have park assist sensors, then in order to make sure that you've centered the center piece, you want to make sure that the gap here between this overlapping flange on both sides is the same before you press down on the taped areas. So the last step is we basically end where we began. We're now just reinstalling the screws and clips on this lower panel, and we'll be done. We hope your installation goes well, and we're really excited to see pictures of your newly restyled truck, so please tag us in them on a Facebook post or email us a copy, and we will feature them on our Facebook page.